A death investigation is underway, and a homicide detective has been assigned to the apparent poisoning death of the man whose wife claims ingested an aquarium additive to prevent catching the COVID-19 virus. Hello there, Just Sayers. I'm Allison Cardival. Thank you for joining me for this very quick, updated version on one of the stories that's going around the nation involving our whole COVID-19 pandemic. But first, before we get to the story, I have to remind you, do a little housekeeping and say, please follow on social media, follow the website, let us know how we're doing, and say hello to Percy, our dog, who is here quarantined, self-quarantined at our home with us, of course. So sorry if you hear him again. All right, now on to the story. On March 23rd, a Mesa, Arizona woman set off a firestorm of national headlines by telling NBC News that she and her husband ingested chloroquine phosphate in the form of aquarium additive. It was an attempt, she claims, to ward off the COVID-19 virus after hearing President Trump say its use might be a game changer. Police and hospital officials confirmed that in response to a 911 call, a couple in their 60s was transported to the hospital where the wife ended up in the ICU, and her husband unfortunately died. Banner Health officials also put out a statement cautioning against the urge to self-medicate. Now, NBC News' Vaughn Hilliard posted part of a phone interview done with the woman from the intensive care unit on Twitter in a series of tweets. One of them reads, quote, "Woman in ICU. Trump kept saying it was basically pretty much a cure. NBC. What would be your message to the American public? Woman. Oh my God, don't take anything, don't believe anything the president says and his people. Call your doctor," unquote. Here are a couple of the excerpts that they had posted online.
Were you guys concerned about the coronavirus?
Yeah, very. Because we're afraid that we're getting sick, and my husband's afraid, that he's a man, and they've been talking about the fact that men die more than women, and we were just getting really, really worried, and, we were staying in, and we decided we'd self-isolate. It's just horrible.
How long had you been self-isolating?
For I had been for 3 days, and he had been for 2.
And were you hoping that this would be helped for preventative sake?
Yes.
Did you at any point hear that the FDA had not approved of it for coronavirus purposes, or?
Yes. But, they kept saying that it was approved for other things, and, Trump kept saying it was, basically pretty much a cure.
What would be your message to the American public?
Oh my God, don't take anything. Don't believe anything. Don't believe anything the president says and his people, because they don't know what they're talking about. And don't take anything. Be so careful, and call your doctor. This is a heartache I'll never get over. That's what happened.
Did you see the president's press conference? Where did you hear about?
Yeah, we saw his press conference. was on a lot, actually.
And then what? Did you seek out chloroquine?
I had it in the house because I used to have koi fish. And my fish, they came out at one point, and I used them, and it really helped them. And I can't remember what all. Like I had to clean the tank, and that's how. I was in the pantry stacking dog food, and I just saw it sitting in the back shelf, and said, "Hey, isn't that stuff they're talking about on TV?" And yeah, it was.
And so you used to clean the fish tanks with it?
Yeah, my koi fish.
Yeah. And then did you mix it with anything, or how did you guys consume it?
Yeah, we mixed it with soda. It was very bitter and terrible.
With soda?
Yes.
And then did you pretty immediately start to feel bad?
Yeah, within 20 minutes. But it happened so fast. It got so bad so fast.
Yeah. How much did you consume, would you say?
1 teaspoon each.
That's all?
Yes.
And your husband and you both consumed that 1 teaspoon?
Each.
And then how did you start to feel?
Dizzy, hot. I started vomiting. My husband started developing respiratory problems and wanted to hold my hand, and I was holding his hand, and we didn't know. He said, "Call."
Again, that was Vaughn Hilliard of NBC News speaking by telephone with the woman in this case that was reportedly in the ICU, speaking to him by phone at the time. So after this interview on March 23rd, NBC News went with the headline, "Man Dies After Taking Chloroquine in an Attempt to Prevent Coronavirus." Other traditional media outlets followed suit. Though most have since revised their stories, the fact that the chloroquine was not in medical form, but in a chemical used in aquariums to kill parasites was often downplayed or omitted. I have to admit, that bothered me. At the time this story came out, I was really upset that day about how they were leaving out what I feel is a very important detail, that these people were not taking a medication. It was not prescribed by a doctor. And instead, they were more interested in trying to make something political out of it. And I really, as you know, if you've heard me before, have a problem with the media not doing their job in the respect of mixing up opinion and fact all the time. Now, this is my opinion. I'm telling you that right now. But the facts of the case did not support, in my opinion, how they were presenting it. All right, they didn't report on this, but as you can hear in the interview that she gave to NBC News, she had this additive on a shelf in her home, and she used to use it for her koi fish. She knew what it was. So it bothered me, that part too, that she knew what this was. Why did they take it the way that they did? The reports, besides not really pointing that part of the story out, the reports did, however, tout that President Trump had recently said he hoped the medication long used to treat malaria would prove to be instrumental in treating COVID-19 cases as well. That's what the story was really about, that, oh, these people took the president's advice, which I'm not even going to go there. All right. Since then, the motivations of the reported 61-year-old woman, identified in other news reports as Wanda, have begun being called into question. Some suggest her donations to Democratic causes make it unlikely she was following the president's advice. Quote, "We weren't big supporters of Trump, but we did see that they were using it in China and stuff, Wanda told the Free Beacon. And we just made a horrible, tragic mistake, she said. It was stupid. It was horrible, and we should have never done it. But it's done now, and I've lost my husband, and my whole life was my husband. We didn't think it would kill us, she added to the Free Beacon. We thought, if anything, it would help us, because that's what we've been hearing on the news, unquote. Now, mind you, medically prescribed forms of chloroquine are being used by doctors on the front lines of the global COVID-19 pandemic, and a lot of them are seeing very positive results. The CDC still wants more clinical studies, but analytical data on the ground from people prescribing it to their patients are seeing very positive results and improvements. As of this week, these doctors are doing this with the blessing now of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, with an emergency authorization from the FDA. HHS Secretary Alex Azar said, quote, scientists in America and around the world have identified multiple potential therapeutics for COVID-19, including chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine, unquote. Meanwhile, on April 1st, Technofog, a Twitter account with almost 150,000 followers, started posting about Wanda's reliability and even her mental stability. The professed lawyer uploaded an apparent court document and stated that in 2001, Wanda assaulted her husband 7 months into their marriage, quote, punching and swinging at him with a decorative birdhouse on a wooden pole during an argument about divorcing, unquote. Remember, as always, you can go to the website and look up the article that corresponds with this podcast, and you can see all the links I used in the research for the topic we're talking about right now. In another tweet on that day, Technofog said the woman who claims that President Trump made her think drinking fish tank cleaner was safe called Trump psychoprez on her Facebook page less than a month ago. Quote, she's lying and played the press, said the tweet. This needs to be investigated. Mesa PD, unquote. Well, it's not in response to Technofog, but the Mesa Police Department has opened what is referred to as a death investigation. Media Relations Detective Jason Flam told me yesterday via email that, quote, we initiate an investigation for every death we are notified of. In this case, the couple was seen by the fire department only and transported to the hospital still alive. The male died in the hospital. Once we were notified by the OME, or Office of the Medical Examiner, the case was assigned to a homicide detective, unquote. During this type of investigation, the Maricopa County Medical Examiner's Office prepares multiple types of reports that can include an autopsy, toxicology report, anthropology reports, neuropathology reports, and endocrinology reports. A Mesa Police Department spokesman informed just saying that every case is unique and the length of investigations vary. He said that this investigation is still in the very early stages and no determinations or conclusions have been made. Detective Flam also warned people not to jump to any conclusions. He said, quote, we have not released any information regarding this case via social media. I caution people from forming opinions merely based on social media comments. The only people with true insight into this matter are those involved, unquote. So there you have it. The case that was making headlines last week perhaps should have been looked into a little more closely before being held up as an example. If you've listened to the podcast before, you know that this is a pet peeve of mine with the media, and I therefore will be keeping track of this one a little bit, checking back in with the Mesa Police Department to see whether or not this indeed was just a really tragic accident that ruined these people's lives, ended his and ruined hers, or whether or not there was something else going on here. There's not enough information at this point to tell. So you got to be careful with what you listen to out there on the internet and on TV anymore. Since we're all at home, we have lots of time to go down various bunny holes, and you have to be careful that you don't get led astray. All right, that's it for now. You can agree or disagree. I'm just saying. Until next time, God bless and take care. Be safe out there. Or in this case, in there at your home.